A dramatic fall for a man who helped define a generation of Pakistani politics. Brought down amid a cloud of corruption allegations. Nawaz Sharif resigned as Prime Minister last week after the Supreme Court found he had been dishonest and disqualified him from Parliament. The allegations stem from revelations in the Panama Papers linking Sharif's children, including his apparent political heir, Maryam Sharif, to offshore companies used to buy property in London. After narrowly escaping dismissal in April, a special joint investigation team report said that the Sharif family was living above their means and accused Sharif of concealing assets. The Supreme Court has now ordered the opening of a criminal investigation into the family. In the past, Pakistan's military has decided the fate of civilian governments, and there's speculation it held some sway over the Supreme Court's decision. Although he has stepped down, Sharif denies any wrongdoing, saying these accusations are part of a political conspiracy against him.
Whether it was the tenure of my prime ministership or my chief ministership, God has been merciful enough to ensure that there is no stain on me.
Sharif joins a legacy of Pakistani leaders who didn't finish their term in office. While the fate of the man who dominated Pakistan's politics for nearly 3 decades is unclear, it seems that brand Sharif will carry on. Nawaz Sharif has kept the political baton in the family, passing it to his brother, Shehbaz Sharif, the current Chief Minister of Punjab Province. Shehbaz Sharif must first resign from his post and win a by-election to take over his brother's parliamentary seat. Until then, another strong Sharif ally and current Petroleum Minister, Shahid Haqqan Abbasi, has been put forward as interim Prime Minister. He still needs parliamentary approval, but with his Pakistan Muslim League Party holding the majority, he is expected to be voted in. But even Abbasi isn't without baggage. He's currently fighting corruption charges in a special accountability court. And while Shehbaz Sharif is seen by many as a popular and stable choice, his business dealings are often linked to his brothers and will face tough scrutiny. Pakistan's opposition says his nomination proves that Pakistan is being ruled by dynastic nepotism.
Political parties don't have democracy in them. They are family parties. They're basically families run the parties. Actually, it's like a form of monarchy. But the reason why democracy came in was because you wanted leadership on merit.
Will Nawaz Sharif's resignation be the beginning of a new era for Pakistan's politics? Or will allegations of corruption continue to hang over the young nation's leadership? Yvette McCullough, The Newsmakers.
So let's go to our panel now. I'm joined from Islamabad by Musaddiq Malik. He's the former spokesman of Nawaz Sharif. In Lahore, Asma Jahangir, a leading human rights lawyer and former head of the Pakistan Supreme Court Bar Association. Also from Lahore, Kunwa Kuldan Shahid, a correspondent for The Diplomat and Asia Pacific Current Affairs magazine. Welcome to all my guests. Asma, let me start with you, because Nawaz Sharif's disqualification means not a single Pakistani Prime Minister has managed to complete a 5-year term since partition 70 years ago. What does that say about Pakistan's democracy?
Well, what it says is that there has been trouble between military-civilian relationship, but also the fact that prime ministers isolate themselves rather than take other civilian institutions with them, so that they easily get used by the establishment. But I also want to say that it is only the prime minister who's disqualified so far. His family has so far not been disqualified.
Musaddiq, the verdict came as no surprise given that joint investigation team report. Does it set a dangerous precedent for the removal of elected prime ministers?
Well, we very clearly think it is. It is for the stability of the country and also for democracy and our constitution that Prime Minister has accepted to step down. But we have not agreed with this decision, neither the Prime Minister nor his team and nor the people of Pakistan. As you know, they basically put enormous allegations on Prime Minister of kickbacks, of money laundering, of corruption, and at the end he was disqualified for not declaring the salary from his son's company that he had not taken. Imagine,
right. But
he was disqualified for the salary that he did not take.
The investigation is now going to the accountability courts, isn't there? And a lot of people will say there's no smoke without fire.
Well, that's a separate issue. That is a separate issue. That's another sword that's hanging on his head and the head of his family, that not only is he disqualified, but that his family can also be disqualified from politics for times to come through this NAP trial. But so far, as Asma was just saying, only he's been disqualified and his family has to go through this trial.
Okay,
his entire family, his daughter, his sons, his brother-in-law, everyone.
Let me bring Kunwar in, because some observers are saying the military played a part in all this, because they wanted Sharif removed from office, and there were 2 members of the military establishment on the joint investigation team, which came as a surprise to many people.
Yes, there are certain sections that are saying that, but I would like to ask them, what purpose would Nawaz Sharif's dismissal serve the army when they already have control over most of the issues? They're already dictating the foreign policy. They're already in complete control of the security. The ties with India are as bad as they've been for a long, long time, and there is no accountability for the military leadership in Balochistan.
But wasn't Nawaz Sharif trying to rein in the military, or making decisions that the military resented? For example, trying to open broader dialogue with India.
Yes, but he has clearly, failed in achieving that, and ties with India, as I just said, are as bad as they've been for a long, long time. So why do it now that they have already, they have complete control over everything?
Asma, okay, let me put that question to you. Why has this happened now?
Well, I don't think that this is a question of now. We have been seeing ever since there's been a transition to democracy, whether it was the last government, military, civilian tensions ran deep, and you could see that there were cases even in the past, and the fingerprints of the military were all over there, and everybody at that time also shouted corruption, but eventually people now know that who was behind these cases. And similarly, the same thing has happened now. Ever since this government has come in, I am no defender of this government, but ever since they've been coming, there has been hardly any time where they've been allowed to work with some kind of freedom. And despite that, there has been an effort, which is obviously backed by the military, to oust the Prime Minister, because the Prime Minister's vision, and I think indeed of people who elected him, is completely different to the vision, the way our army wants to take it. And I dare say that most of the political parties share the vision that the Prime Minister has. Therefore, a civilian Prime Minister that is elected by the people will never suit the military.
Mr. Deek, this is being seen as a huge victory for the opposition party, the PTI. Imran Khan has been trying for this for the last 4 years.
Sorry, I couldn't get it.
Well,
what did you just say?
I'm putting this question to Mr. Deek, that Imran Khan of the PTI opposition party has been trying to get Nawaz Sharif removed from office for the last 4 years. How much has this strengthened the opposition in Pakistan?
I personally think that the entire move is ill-conceived. I think they're politically handcuffing themselves. So what is happening to Nawaz Sharif, what has happened to Nawaz Sharif today and has happened twice or thrice before, is going to happen to any politically elected member. So I think we learned the hard way through the 1990s that we have to make sure that democracy stays and the institutions stay and we move forward. And it is in that spirit that the Prime Minister has decided to step down and not take it to the court of people. However, having said that, we believe that this is very, very ill, this entire idea of this kind of intrigue and trying to paralyze government is very ill-informed, very ill-conceived, and it would hurt any government that
He's nominated his brother, Shahbaz, which has clearly been welcomed by party supporters. Is he the right man for the job?
I think he's a fantastic man. I think the man that he is chosen to take care of the government in the interim is also fantastic. Both of these people are the best performing people. Let's take each one of them, and I'd comment for no more than 5 to 7 seconds. So if you just take Shahid Khan Abbasi, he's been able to put together an entire ecology of energy for the people of Pakistan.
Another man who's
And what
also
about
facing corruption allegations.
No, I don't think so. He has no corruption allegations going on against him, and if there are any, they should be brought to fore. And similarly, if you look at Nawaz Sharif, he's been 3 times the Chief Minister of Punjab, and he's changed the face of Punjab. So whether it's the healthcare system or the education system.
Also been accused of engaging in unlawful business, and there are past investigations which are quiet now but may be reopened against him. See, this is one of the problems of Pakistan politics. Wherever you look, there are political leaders facing allegations of wrongdoing. Asma, is this a big problem with Pakistan's political system?
Well, let me put it this way, that they're all facing corruption challenges. So is Mr. Imran Khan and members of his own party, and those who are in the forefront of asking for accountability. But I wish that it was a question of accountability. It's not a question of accountability. It's a question of keeping the leadership, the civilian leadership in check. Give them a wide rope, let them hang themselves, and then get rid of them. And you asked a question whether the opposition should be happy. I think that the opposition, if I were opposition, I would have been happier if I defeated Mr. Nawaz Sharif in the streets. But if I fire a gun on somebody else's shoulder, they do all the work, I don't think that there is any happiness in that kind of a victory.
So are you saying the Supreme Court is complicit in this keeping leaders on a short leash, as you put it?
I'm afraid that that is what our history has been. And when you look at this case, in the beginning I thought that this was just folly, just completely mistakenly being done. But if you look at the pattern, I'm afraid that I cannot but come to the conclusion that they have been influenced by the media trial that has been going on, and by the crowds outside that have been asking for the head of the Prime Minister, and they got carried away with it. I don't know if it is more than that or not, I can't say. But this is definitely it, because if you read the judgment, any lawyer will tell you anywhere in the world that it is a judgment that is devastating for any lawyer to read.
Kanwar, let me ask you about the man who's been nominated to take over as Prime Minister, Shahbaz. Clearly he's got to become elected as an MP first before he can go that way. Musaddiq, our guest in Islamabad, saying that he's the right man, he's a good man to have as Prime Minister. Is that the feeling in Pakistan? And how can anyone trust anyone with the Sharif name, given that they seem to all be tainted with allegations of corruption right now?
I think there is absolutely no question about Nawaz Sharif's.
Sorry, Asma. Let Kanwar answer that question first.
Yeah, I think there's absolutely no question about Shahbaz Sharif's performance and governance in Punjab. He has done phenomenally well. The issue with the decision to name him as the successor to Nawaz Sharif is simply because if you're saying that certain decisions are impacting democracy, then the party itself should manifest democracy as well. What the Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has done, he's basically saying that none of his current MNAs is good enough to replace him. So he not only is trying to reshuffle the federal government, he will now be shuffling the Punjab government as well, just so one of the Sharifs could be the next Prime Minister. And that is not how democracy is supposed to work.
But this is a very entrenched system in Pakistan, isn't it, Kanwar? I mean, this whole dynastic political system, that's just the way it is in Pakistan. Can that be changed?
Absolutely. I don't think it can be changed anytime soon, which is why I feel instead of blaming the army, who obviously have their role in the entire episode, and the judiciary, obviously, who've made the decision, I think the first blame should go to the civilian leaders themselves, because the article that disqualified Nawaz Sharif, 62F, Nawaz Sharif himself has endorsed that in the past. If we talk about Yusuf Raza Gilani's disqualification, Nawaz Sharif was celebrating that judgment 5 years ago. So if you have to blame someone, let's blame the people who are, damaging their own cause first, instead of other people who might be behind the scenes.
Asma, what do you say to that?
Well, let me just put it this way, that I think that as far as dynastic politics is concerned, I am very much opposed to it and I don't like it. This is an unfortunate reality in South Asia which we must get rid of. But I think that it is very naive to say that everything is to be blamed by people who are sitting there, because at the moment, for years and years, the military has kept every democratic institution hostage. And I am afraid that whenever the test has come, and I can give you several examples, that the judiciary has not gone with the democratic culture and with the democratic process.
Okay.
It has tilted towards the army. And this is another example. But in the past, there have been hundreds of examples.
Well, I know Musaddiq would agree with that point, but Musaddiq, what is your feeling on this dynastic political system where Nawaz Sharif can simply nominate his brother, and there we have it, another Sharif in power following the same policies? Is that right?
I mean, first of all, I've been a part of this process, and it was not just Nawaz Sharif who nominated Shahbaz Sharif. Based upon his performance, and you have three people here, and everyone has agreed that he's been the best performing politician in Pakistan over the past maybe 25 years. So it wasn't just Nawaz Sharif who nominated him, it was the entire party. Now, if the party chooses to elect him, if basically everyone unanimously says that Shahbaz Sharif is the best candidate, then I think democratically speaking, there shouldn't be a problem. We didn't have problem with George Bush Sr. as the President of the United States and Jeb Bush as the governor of Florida.
But there were other contenders for those posts. There doesn't seem to be any other contenders in this case.
No, I think there was a very active and very involved discussion, but his performance spoke for itself. And similarly for Hillary Clinton, she was the first lady, she was the senator, and then she ran for the top office. So I think this is exactly how it's going to be. And if what you're saying is right, when Shahbaz Sharif would go for the National Assembly seat, he'd be defeated. But if he wins squarely, because he's not nominated by his brother every time, he wins the election by probably the largest margin anywhere in Pakistan. And not just once. I mean, for the past 25, 30 years, he's been winning elections every single time. And he's been elected, mind you, not nominated, elected as the Chief Minister of Punjab 3 times. And now he's going to be elected as the Prime Minister.
Can Nawaz Sharif himself, can he recover from this? Because he is going to try and file against this disqualification, isn't he?
I personally think that Turkey knows better, and you have seen it more than any other country of the world, and you would understand and appreciate it more than any other country of the world. This is not the first time that Nawaz Sharif has gotten disqualified. He was previously under General Pervez Musharraf disqualified for 21 years. This is not the first time he would be put in jail. He was put in jail for 27 years for hijacking a plane. This is not the first time he would be exiled. So this is not the first time he's been thrown off.
Okay, thank you to all three of my guests. A great discussion there. Musaddiq Malik, Asma Jahangir and Kunwa Kuldan Shahid. Thank you all very much indeed.